Hello and welcome to the Pete Maravich episode of the Hoop 3 podcast, aka episode 68. My name is Logan Wertman, recording this one on the morning of Wednesday, December 20th. And as usual, I'm joined by my calm co-host, Jacob Roth. Jacob, how does it feel to be on the Pistol Pete episode?
Feels pretty good. He was a guy that we were looking at old episodes. We're like, man, there's just a lot of guys that are way more important than some people. Last episode or 2 episodes ago. I don't remember. Was Taj Gibson?
Yeah.
And they not disrespecting Taj's game and influence of basketball, but I don't think that he is on the same level as Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
Respectfully. So there's just gonna be some guys that we forgot that will probably just, when there's a nothing episode, be like, you know who deserves an episode? Like Charles Barkley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll get a lot of 34s in there.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of 34s, a lot of 33s. And if you wanted to know what numbers are just congested with great players, check out our jerseys draft.
Yeah, that was episode 51, I think, off the top of my head. So
go check that out.
Yeah.
And while you're checking that out, hit subscribe if you're on YouTube, like, share, all those things that I will probably say again. Buy me a coffee. Links in the description, patreon.com/hoop theory. Also, the Lakers suck.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't suck. So, we talked about this before. We're going to talk about the in-season. I just think the in-season banner thing, I just felt like it was this weird, it felt too grandiose for what it was in my heart.
You're talking the whole tournament overall, or what?
No. Their banner drop ceremony.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just I think what I want it to be, and you brought up a great point when we were texting, and if you want to make that point instead of me just regurgitating your point, but I just felt like it was this big giant deal for something that I don't view as the same importance as a national championship, national college brain, as
world.
a world championship, an NBA championship. Yeah. I just feel like it doesn't have the same level of chutzpah. Intensity.
Yeah.
And the banner was dropped, and it's right next to the Lakers' other championships. That were winning the entire NBA, everything.
Yeah, I guess in the Lakers arena, they might not even have their conference and divisional banners up there. Some teams don't because they have so many the Celtics, I guarantee, do not have any conference or divisional banners up in the rafters. They have them somewhere, but they're not hanging up because they don't have room.
I also wish that the thought that I had is, how some high school gyms will have state champions basketball, and then it'll have the years listed.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good compromise. It's still there, but it's not you see this banner, it's actually bigger than the banners that were for all the championships in Minneapolis. The banner's bigger than the Minneapolis NBA championships.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, respectfully, way more important than being better in 7 total games.
Yeah.
Because you were good over, more than 7. I don't know. I just thought that, I'm not taking away that the Lakers won it. They did. Everyone else in the East got Haliburton. They won everybody else out in the West. And they young manned Haliburton, and Anthony Davis showed up like he cared for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's awesome. I am not. That is not what I'm trying to make with this point. Just the banner being as big as your total national is wild to me.
Yeah,
that's what I could not wrap my head around.
I kind of like your idea of the doing one banner and just adding the years as you accrue them.
That's what I didn't want to type out in the text where I said, I'll just talk about it on the pod. I don't want to type this all out.
Yeah.
It was trying to explain that.
I think that would be a good idea. But I do think that they, having a banner is kind of necessary when they're trying to, it's this thing that they're trying to get the whole league and fan base to care about, adding this in this season. And so, like, if you're trying to, like, hype it up as this thing everybody should care about and take seriously, once it's done, you should probably treat it like it's a big thing still, you know, and not just be like, well, you don't actually get a banner because it's just the in-season tournament. Like, it doesn't actually matter that much. So they need to treat it as, think about it like in tennis, how there's the different opens, you know, the different majors. Mm-hmm. Like, one might be, like, bigger than another one, but, like, you still have a banner or still get a trophy for both, you know, that type of thing. And both of them go on your, like, all-time resume. I don't think the in-season tournament thing should go on LeBron's all-time resume as, like, this really major thing, but, like, I think it's something, you know? It's kind of cool.
That is a point that I saw, and I can't remember who asked the question. Maybe it was you. I don't know. Will the in-season tournament actually end up affecting legacies of players?
Maybe a tiny bit, but not, like, because, I mean...
If Haliburton just shows up like an absolute animal every single in-season tournament, what if he's the Chris Paul of our generation? But with the in-season tournament, he can never win it. He can get deep, but he can never win the in-season tournament.
Yeah. I think it will just become this little mini playoffs thing, which I kind of like. It's like this pre-playoff... It's not really pre-playoff because it's, like, so much longer before. It's just like this, you know, early season playoff time period. It's just kind of cool. I like it. I like the addition of it, but it is clearly smaller than the main thing, but it's still a thing. Like, it still matters, you know.
The one thing that I do want to bring up, the Lakers organization originally was like, we're not gonna do a banner. That's crazy. And then the NBA allegedly was like, you're going to put up a banner. Sirs, put one up there. Like, it was reportedly the NBA was pressuring the Lakers. Because the Lakers said that they wouldn't put one up.
Just because that would make sense.
They didn't say, it just early reports suggested that the Lakers would not raise a banner, but the NBA allegedly kind of pushed that agenda.
I think most teams probably would raise a banner. Like, there's only a few teams in the league that wouldn't, and the Lakers are one of them because they have 17 championship banners.
It'd be Lakers, Celtics,
maybe Bulls and Warriors.
There's just a couple teams that just have, like, enough that were like, that kind of diminishes the value of the other ones.
Although now, since it's been so long since the Bulls have won something, like, maybe the Bulls now would put up, if they were to win an in-season tournament next season, let's say, like, they probably would raise that, I'm guessing, you know.
Yeah, the Celtics might too. Just kidding. We're not that desperate.
The Celtics, okay, conference championships matter. Like, those aren't nothing. Yeah,
that's true. Those aren't nothing. And there's, like, a lot of those.
Yeah.
Or, like, a decent amount.
You've gotten probably more than anybody else in the East the past decade. The Celtics have.
Heat might actually. He'd have played.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, the Heat have won in the last decade, so that's including 13 and 14, so they've been 4 times. But at least you're in the conference championship, which is also a thing that matters. Yeah. A lot more than the Bulls have.
Yes. That is true.
But, yeah, I saw somebody arguing about how, like, arguing against LeBron, like, this adding to his legacy. One person said, Michael Jordan wouldn't have even cared about the in-season tournament. His eyes would be focused on, you know, the real thing. And it was like, do you not know who Michael Jordan is at all? Like, there's no, like, Michael Jordan would care more about the in-season tournament than anybody else in the league. That's just a fact. Like, Michael Jordan cares more about every single regular season. That's what is part of what makes him so great, is that every game, he, like, never took a game off. He was going just balls to the wall all the time. Think about Russell Westbrook, but if he's, like, the GOAT.
Yeah. That is a great analogy.
Yeah.
That is.
And he's obsessed with gambling and the games in Las Vegas, you know? And the grand prize is $500K. Like, he's definitely going to be caring about it. And also, yeah, it's just like adding that to LeBron's, like, legacy. yeah, that's like an accolade to add, but you can't really be like just make a graphic. Like I've seen a bunch of graphics now that are like in season tournaments, LeBron James 1, Michael Jordan 0. It's like, okay, you can't
that's
really.
Also, like that turns into the thing of like, oh yeah, Wilt Chamberlain was like a great like. He scored 100 points in a game, but people would go, well, that's the best offensive player in the history of basketball. Exclusively because he had 100 points and no one else has gotten there.
Yeah.
Like,
which
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's not true.
It's not. There's like
faulty logic.
There's like at least, I'm not going to say a number because then I'll be wrong, but like I would say there's at least 5 guys in today's NBA that just like everyone is like, yeah, they're a better scorer than Wilt Chamberlain. They're just better on offense.
Probably.
Even though they don't have the crazy 100-point games thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep. It's just a lot harder to do now, number one. Number two, Wilt he's famous for, you know, putting up, he's like Russell Westbrook times 10. Like, this is the second Russell Westbrook.
I think Joel Embiid is the term you're looking for.
What do you mean?
He's just Joel Embiid. At the end of games where Joel Embiid will just have like a 12-point fourth quarter. Like a 12-point half of a fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Or Giannis, when he dropped 64, was just bullying people that have never been on an NBA court.
They win, though. I'm thinking more of like a player that doesn't win a lot, but he puts up the most gaudy numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what Wilt Chamberlain was. He, like, in an era where there was only like 8 teams in the league, and he played like over 15 years, he only won 2 championships, you know? If he was that dominant, he probably should have won more championships, looking back. But
that is very valid and true.
Yeah. But he wasn't a winner.
Oh, he's a loser. He's a loser. Just kidding.
Yeah, Bill Russell for life. But what were we talking about? The banner. The in-season tournament banner. So I think that like you were saying, you were like, that can't go up on in the rafters with the championship banners, like for the World Championship. And my thought was, well, you know, I've seen a lot of teams that have their conference and divisional championship banners up there. So it's not like it's like at least in a similar ballpark to those. But yeah, I like your idea overall, the doing one banner for the IST and just adding the different years that the team wins it, adding like a little patch on.
It definitely should be like recognized as like it's not a nothing.
Yeah, and also
because if every team starts to take it seriously, it's going to be just as hard to win. I'm not trying to take the fact that they won it away at all.
I think everybody took it pretty seriously.
Yeah. So no, there's no asterisks. It's no weird different thing. I'd like it to be 8 games instead of 4 as the build up.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that. I mean, they showed up and they played well every in-season tournament game they had. They didn't have any off games. Mm-hmm. They won all 4 pretty decisively, and then in the playoffs they were just good.
Mm-hmm.
So
they crushed the last 2 teams. The semifinals and the finals.
I was at a family holiday gathering, and I was like, yeah, I'm excited to watch the Lakers get Haliburton because my brother-in-law is a Lakers guy. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm a little worried about it, just a tiny bit. And then in the middle of the game, he was like, I'm no longer worried.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's a good turnout for the NBA that the very first in-season tournament, they got a all-time great like LeBron to win it, and the Lakers franchise as the first winners.
It was the only thing that could have been better for them is that exact same outcome, but it's Lakers-Celtics.
Lakers-Celtics,
that's the only thing they could have drawn up that would have been more like the NBA, Adam Silver just sitting there thank you.
But depending on how good Tyrese Haliburton becomes, this would be a good story for basically where he came on. If it's the passing of the
torch almost.
Yeah, it's where he came onto the scene, you know? Because that's I'm sure there's a lot more people in the world who know who Tyrese Haliburton is now after this in-season tournament that didn't know who he was before.
He doesn't bring just weirdos like us joy.
Yeah.
He brings more people joy. Just watching him just do stuff.
Yeah. Seeing his very unique, funky style of play. And now they finally have an award that they can name after LeBron James. They can do the in-season tournament MVP.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah.
See, that is the one thing that is going to be like a problem, though. They named all these awards after, like, obviously, there's just a lot of basketball, and like a LeBron, he gets that one, but then like, who's a guy that just won't get one? You know what I mean? Like, there's just going to be guys that are good enough that just won't have a trophy.
Yeah. Unless they rename them, but also like it could just make sense as like it's just solidified as the trophies are named after the very first, not the very first, but like, you know,
just the first era of like before. Well, because that's why like in hockey, the Hart is the MVP.
Yeah.
And like that'll never change because people will riot and like burn down buildings.
And where does Hart rank all time? It's on the GOAT list for people. I don't know hockey that well, but
I don't have enough to feel confident to say a number. I know he's not one.
Yeah, that's for sure. Wayne Gretzky, and then I think isn't somebody Howell pretty high? Something Howell.
Bobby Orr, Howell. I should know that.
Yeah.
Gordie Howe.
Gordie Howe. That's what it is. Yeah.
Is there just like a 25 greatest NHL players of all time? Watch us be so dumb. Watch Hart not even be a guy. He was like a coach or something.
That could be, honestly, if they just named it up. Well, I feel like they would probably name the MVP award after, like, you know.
It's Hart, right? It's not Hull.
I'm pretty sure it's Hart. Yeah, Hart.
Well, he wasn't even in the top 25.
Yeah. But, so it's probably very early. You know, it's probably like the first person to win it or something like that. But.
Oh, it's actually, it might not be a player.
Okay.
It's in honor of Canadian Dr. David Hart, who donated the original trophy to the NHL and was the father of Cecil Hart, a former coach and general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. So Hart, fun fact, not even a hockey player.
Okay.
He was the dad of a coach.
Yeah. That makes it a bit different. But different than what the NBA does with how they've named their awards.
Yeah, apologies to all the hockey people listening.
Yeah.
I'm getting more into hockey, but I'm not there yet, very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
That was a flub.
Yeah, I don't know if I could get to double digits of naming hockey players, but it'd be close.
That's crazy. Like, all time?
I can try if we want to just do that.
I want to do this right now.
Okay.
Actually. Because we're anybody worried? We're gonna get more Haliburton talk. That's like gonna be happening shortly.
Yeah.
But quick detour. Name as many hockey players as you possibly can.
Okay. Wayne Gretzky.
Good.
Sidney Crosby. Right. That's his name.
Good. Yep. The kid.
Alex Ovechkin.
Yep. Ovi.
I know a little bit of the Avalanche because I like all Denver teams. What's his name? His nickname, they call him, he's from Russia. I know that.
That is a lot of people, actually.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's pretty common. How many am I at? 2, 3?
You're at 3.
I'm at 3. Is this the person I'm thinking of that you're?
Yeah, I think so. His first name's Kale.
No. I'm thinking of the goalie.
Oh, okay.
I think he's the goalie. Anyways,
the only Avalanche guy that I know, because he's like, I'm convinced, like, not maybe like definitively the best, but like
Gorgiev is who I'm thinking of. They call him Georgie. Or
Alexander Gorgiev.
Yeah, Gorgiev. So he's like one of the best players on the Avalanche, I'm pretty sure.
But just on the Avalanche alone, there is 4 Russians.
Oh, wow. I feel like if I heard somebody say some more names on the Avalanche, I'd be like, oh yeah, like I know that. I've heard that.
There's a very, very prominently good one that people think could dabble his way into like the GOAT status. Not GOAT status, but like in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And he's got a Irish sounding last name.
Oh, McDavid.
Bang! There we go.
I'm at 5 now.
Yep. And okay. I actually did not think this would be hard. I thought you were kind of over exaggerating.
No, I wasn't.
We don't have to continue because
Gordie Howe is 6. You said somebody earlier as like the second. Bob Orr, is that what you said? Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr. That's a Bruins legend.
That's 7.
Any hockeys?
Any hockeys?
Goalies.
Man, I don't know if I can get past 7. I think I'm gonna forfeit.
It's okay.
That was a.
It's okay.
That would not. I mean, I wasn't lying.
I wish I would not have looked up to see, because I've seen a bunch of names that I would have probably came up with. I just would have struggled. I couldn't get past probably 20.
Yeah. I don't know if I could name anybody else, honestly, off the top of my head. I
feel like there's Mario. There's Lemieux.
I've heard that. I wouldn't have come up with that on my own.
I'm trying to think of people that I haven't seen on the list that I just scrolled through. Yeah. I feel like that's cheating. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway.
But, yeah. So we'll try to get more into hockey, and I'll try to be able to name at least 10 players.
Can you name all the teams?
Okay. This will be. There's 32 now, right?
Yes.
Because they added the Vegas Golden Knights.
This one I know I can do. Because you pretty much just go to the big markets and be like,
yeah,
does something ring a bell?
Yeah. Vegas Golden Knights, which I love that team. I don't know why I love this, but I love when team names have an adjective and a noun in them. It's double. Like
the Fighting Irish or the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, exactly. Or when it's just one of the Commanders' potential
Leafs?
Names, the Washington
Red
Commanders.
Hawks.
Red Hawks? I thought it was Red Wolves. Maybe there's both.
I think it's Red Hawks because they had to get permission from Miami of Ohio, which is the Red Hawks.
Oh, I think that I saw Red Wolves on the list of options for what people were talking about. Like that, and the Armada was another one, Washington Armada, but which would have been weird. But just doing that type of thing is I like that.
Red
so
Wolves
Golden
is
Knights.
On this list.
Yeah, Red Wolves. That's what I thought. But Timberwolves, I mean, that's just a noun in and of itself because it's an actual thing. I think a Red Wolf is too, maybe. But
people are trying to get red tails. People are super into this red thing. Oh my goodness.
Because they were the Redskins, they just want to change it to something else. Red.
I don't know. My favorite is people want them to become the Washington Sentinels because that was the team in the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, it was the Washington Sentinels?
It was the Washington Sentinels, but that won't happen. But anyway, that's a whole nother rabbit tail. Yeah, you just like the color adjective thing.
Yeah. So we got Golden Knights is one. Seattle Kraken? Kraken, right? And then
an all-time branding job by the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, I love that.
That is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it is so good.
The Washington Capitals.
Yes,
the Capitals. Nationals is baseball.
Yep.
I'll try to name the Canadian teams. There's the Montreal Canadiens. Yep. There's the
I said one of them already as a joke for an adjective team.
Oh, I don't know if I heard that. Vancouver Canucks.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know what that is, but the Calgary Fire. No,
I'll give it.
Edmonton, Calgary Flame.
Yeah.
And then Edmonton Oilers.
Yep.
So I'm at 7 now. 8.
You're missing Toronto.
Toronto.
Not Saskatchewan.
Oh, there's another Winnipeg. Is that one?
You're missing 3 Canadian.
Oh,
Winnipeg,
really?
Toronto, and is it Ottawa?
Saskatoon?
No, it is Ottawa.
Oh, Ottawa has a team?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
They've got a sick logo.
Okay, so Toronto is... Why do I not know the name of the Toronto team? Toronto Maple Leafs? That's baseball.
Nope.
No, Blue Jays. Blue Jays is baseball.
It's baseball. Maple Leafs is, in fact, hockey.
Okay. And then Winnipeg...
There's a football team with this name.
Does it start with a W?
Nope.
No. Winnipeg. Is it an animal?
It is a form of travel.
Car, flight, plane, run.
Type of plane.
Jets?
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg Jets. Okay, that sounds very clunky.
This is also going off the brain. I'm almost positive that's right.
Yeah. Ottawa.
This one is weird.
Is that not an alliteration either?
Nope. It is. It's a sick logo.
Is it like a concept or is it like a thing?
It is a historical thing. Figure. Human.
Like individual? Specific person?
No, it's like a...
Just like a type of person.
A position in government.
Oh, presidents?
No, theirs is Roman, but the United States also has this.
Theirs is Roman.
Like their
General?
logo's like a Roman, no, kind of, but it's not a general.
Commander,
like
chief.
Deb Fisher is one of these.
Attorney. No, I was gonna say attorney general. Secretary.
Nebraska's are Deb Fisher and Pete Ricketts right now.
Pete Ricketts is the governor, right?
He's not the governor anymore.
Okay. I don't care about
No, it's fine. This is funny to me.
I delivered to Pete Ricketts' office in Omaha recently for DoorDash.
Did it say like what his position was on the door?
Senator, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't know if I'll get the Ottawa team. What? Senators. Oh, that's what you were giving me a hint for. Okay, I thought you were just because you were laughing at how I didn't know he was the governor.
No, I was laughing because you said senators and then just like kept moving on.
Ottawa Senators. Okay.
But like I guess
Florida
there's like a
Panthers.
Roman... Yep.
Is a team. That's the only Florida team though, right?
Yeah.
You're not looking at a thing? Like a map of them or something?
I'm doing this with you. We're working together. Well, I could rattle off a bunch of them, but...
Dallas Stars.
Yep.
And then there's just like a Texas team, right? It's like Dallas and Texas, I want to say. Or that might be totally wrong. I
don't think that there's a... I think Dallas is the Texas team.
That's the only Texas team?
Yeah.
Phoenix, do they have a team?
Arizona
does. Arizona Wild?
Nope, that's a different place. The Wild is a hockey team.
Oh, really? Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
Denver. I'll just give you towns to help you.
Oh, Colorado Avalanche. Yeah, I knew that.
Boston.
Boston Bruins. Detroit Red Wings.
Nope.
Detroit. It's not Red Wings?
It is Red Wings. My brain broke. I was reading a different city that's a Red Wings rival, Chicago, and I was like, "Yep."
Chicago Blackhawks. New York has Rangers.
2.
Right?
Yep.
And Islanders.
Yep. Well, Rangers is yeah.
And then there's Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yep.
There's
another team in Philadelphia. This one's hard. If you don't
Philadelphia
know,
Flyers. I only know that because our friend Anthony likes them. Is there a California team? Los Angeles Stars. No, that's WNBA.
So there is 1, 2, 3.
Kings. LA Kings.
LA Kings. I think there's only 3
in California
teams.
San Jose Sharks.
Yep. The last city is Anaheim.
Anaheim Angels.
That's what baseball is.
But they're not Anaheim anymore, though, right?
But they were. But no, they're not Angels. This is a...
Anaheim...
I don't know why all my fun facts about this animal are, like, kind of messed up.
Okay. Do you have multiple fun facts about this animal?
2 of them immediately popped into my brain, and they're both rather, like, bad.
Okay. Is it start with an A?
No. It starts with a different letter.
Okay.
If you cut out the hints I give you, then you can use them. I can give them to you.
But you can't. You won't let me leave them in.
Well, I'll tell you. The only way they reproduce is, and they have corkscrew.
Ducks.
And they're ducks.
All right.
That's why I was like, I don't want my hints to be in here. Honestly, I don't even know if this whole hockey thing. This is more us just having fun, I think.
Yeah, it might make it in portions, but not the whole thing. I'll have to scrub it with editing. How many am I at?
So you have the team in Ohio, the team in Arizona, the team in New Jersey, are the ones you have left.
Yeah.
The team in Tennessee, the team in Carolina.
Oh, Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay. The other team in New York.
I got both.
There's another team in New York. There's another team in New York, but it's not named.
Oh, Buffalo.
This one's a little weird.
It's weird. Does it start with a B?
Nope.
I hate the non-alliterations.
There's like none of them.
That are alliterations?
One.
There's a few. San Jose Sharks.
Two.
Pittsburgh
Three.
Penguins. Yeah.
There's literally three of them.
Yeah, that's stupid.
The Bruins, Penguins, and Sharks. That's it.
Okay, so the other New York team, Buffalo.
It's a type of sword.
Cutlass?
If you've ever watched The Office, it's the name of the company that buys Dunder Mifflin.
Saber. Sabers.
The Buffalo Sabres.
Interesting. And
there's another Florida team that has been very good.
Miami?
And no. Miami, I think, is technically Florida Panthers.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
That's weird.
This is...
Because aren't the Panthers, like in Florida, the actual Panthers that are in Florida, aren't they in the mountainous region, which is the west?
Like the Panhandle?
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
I think at least.
I believe you. That makes way more sense than them being on South Beach.
Yeah. But this other city, is that Tampa? Oh, it was Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yep, because they either won or almost won the Stanley Cup when the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Like it almost lined up where like every Tampa team was just cooking.
Yeah, I know they won one recently. St. Louis Blues is another team, by the way. I've just popped into my mind.
There you go. So we've got we're down to Ohio.
And that's the name of the team? Is Ohio something?
Columbus.
Oh, Columbus. I knew that they had a team, but now I don't know what the team name is. Columbus something.
I think it's supposed to be like a playoff of Union soldiers in the Civil War.
Columbus Northerners. Columbus.
It pays homage to the many Ohioans who served in the Union Army during the American Civil War and the manufacturer in Columbus of the many uniforms worn by that army. Like, can you like look at like a reenaction in your brain of the uniforms that the North wore?
And what is that supposed to give me a hint for? Like the name of the uniform?
That's like what the uniform. If you like look at the uniform and then just describe it vaguely, you'll probably say what it is.
What's popping? I don't know if it's right, but what's popping in my head is like a bluish vest.
Mm-hmm. What
blue
is another?
Coats?
Almost. Just a little bit more. Just what's past coat? In between coat and sweater is Blue Jackets. The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
And then
New Jersey, I haven't got that right yet.
Did you do what was it? You got both Islanders and
the Rangers. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, then you have New Jersey and Arizona.
Those
and
are the only
Tennessee.
Two? Oh, Tennessee. Is it Tennessee?
It's Nashville.
Okay, Nashville. Nashville Predators.
Yep.
I always thought that was a weird name for a team, but
so that it's Arizona and New Jersey are the name, like that is the name in the team's name.
Okay. And New Jersey is not an alliteration.
It's one of those cryptids.
Can you define cryptid for me?
Like the Sasquatches or the Mothmans of.
That's where I've heard this word. You have said this before. I don't know if it was on an episode, but
there's one of them that is called the New Jersey
Devil,
blank, and it's the New Jersey Devils. Yeah.
And then
the last one, there is a lot of these in Nebraska as well, and they're a problem. In the middle of the night, people will sit there with night vision scopes and shoot them for the Arizona team.
Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There we
We
go.
got through that. That whole thing can just get blank, so you don't have to like
Flawless.
scrub. No, that was good. We worked on it. We're expanding our knowledge one step at a time.
Yeah.
Also, wow.
You really
There
what?
is some hostility on Twitter about Dylan Raiola committing to Nebraska. Wow.
Who's Dylan Raiola?
We can just talk about this later. That's the number one ranked quarterback in the upcoming class. His dad was a center for Nebraska, then played in the NFL for a long time.
I thought that was last year.
His recruiting cycle has been long.
Oh, so he was a junior in high school last year?
Yep, and then he picked Georgia in like December. No, May. He picked Georgia in like May and then flipped on Monday and then signed with Nebraska today.
Oh, wow.
So he's official. Nebraska has the number one quarterback recruit in the nation.
So are you pumped out your mind?
Yeah, I've like, whew, I was not prepared for that level of after Nebraska volleyball, I mean, I should not be upset with national runner-up. Like, second place isn't good, It's fine.
I mean, after the season we had, though, it's kind of disappointing, but...
Well, it's more the fact how we lost. Like,
getting swept.
They showed up and looked like they didn't want to play.
Where did Texas come from? I don't pay too much attention to volleyball, but I knew they were like good. But like the whole season, it was like Wisconsin and Nebraska were like the two top, like above everybody else by a lot.
Texas had a weird loss to Long Island State at the beginning of the year.
Oh,
and then Stanford lost to Nebraska. So then like the Stanford, I think, got swept by Nebraska or 4 sets or something. So it just felt like there was just like a difference. And Texas just kind of got forgotten about because of their loss to Long Island State.
And it took a long time for
Long Beach
Nebraska
State.
and Wisconsin to face each other. So they were both
Not a
undefeated.
super long time.
It was like pretty late in the
19
season.
games.
Yeah.
Like early conference play. Or middle early conference play. And then they played again at the very end of the season where Nebraska got swept.
Yeah.
In Madison. Anyway,
yes.
But that was just basketball. That's a great idea. I love Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah. So there's just been, like, speaking of Tyrese Haliburton, there's been this narrative that I've seen started being pushed by some people, and Steve Kerr actually had a quote that I don't know what he was asked exactly, but he said that he sees like a young Steph in Tyrese Haliburton's game. That's what Tyrese Haliburton reminds him of. And then that caused a lot of people to start talking online about, what their thoughts are on how good Tyrese Haliburton is in comparison to Steph. And there's like a lot of people that are saying like, well, like Tyrese Haliburton is so much better, like so much more of a complete player, like all these things, which just shocked me at the level of how many people are like just off of Steph all of a sudden. But my thoughts on this are like people are saying that he is Steph, but just with a bunch of like playmaking and better defense and length and like all this stuff. It's like, okay, just because he's an incredible shooter and has really deep range does not make him equal to Steph Curry.
No, Steph, like, no disrespect to Tyrese Haliburton, but like Steph fundamentally changed how people like learn to play basketball and what they work on.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
Tyrese Haliburton isn't Tyrese Haliburton without Steph.
No,
sure.
Absolutely not. Because like you're just gonna see like a bunch of people that everyone's gonna say, "Are they the best shooter ever?" We're gonna have to hear it for the next like probably 15 years because of Steph Curry.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily make Steph better, but
no, it just like Tyrese Haliburton has had like 40 games where he's looked like an insane animal person. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, his shooting numbers it's like the seasons that so far in his career, the way Tyrese Haliburton has shot puts him in an elite club, like really just him and Steph and maybe Dame on an island.
Clay?
Not like Clay's
the
like
volume?
It's not necessarily the volume, but more so like the fact that it's in isolation or off the dribble and like just let's pull up.
It's a different scenario.
Threes,
Yep.
It's with the ball in his hands, just can take and make his shot from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah.
Clay doesn't really have like shot creation as much as those guys. Not even close, really. But so yeah, Tyrese Haliburton, like he has that. But what makes Steph so unbelievable is that he has the Dame thing, but even better, honestly. Like the range and the capability to do everything that anybody can off the dribble. But then also, when he's off the ball, he's literally like JJ Redick. Or like one of the... It probably even better than him at the JJ Redick thing. Like he's better than anybody else at both of those things. At the off-ball three-point specialist, like just running around screens and like utilizing his gravity off ball.
The dirty work of being a three-point shooter and being an all-star at the same time.
Yeah. He can do everything with the ball in his hands, and when he gives up the ball, he's always moving. Like that like people do not understand how unbelievably valuable that is. How much better that makes his team than if he were like Dame and would pass the ball and basically just kind of stand there afterwards. Like that's what separates Dame from Stephen Curry. And Tyrese Haliburton isn't like one of those heliocentric guys that like doesn't do anything off ball, but he's nowhere close to Stephen Curry.
He's like, not Steph. Yeah. Granted, Steph is the mountain. Like Steph is like what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Or like what everyone should aspire to do in all facets of basketball is like, oh, if you're like the closer you are to Steph Curry, just the better you are at being a valuable basketball player.
Yeah.
But it's like Haliburton is good. He's like playing like a top 10 player in the league this year. Mm-hmm. This is not just like taking anything away from Haliburton, but to say like, oh no, and it's because of Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr brings all the pain into my world ever. He just brings sadness. He's the one that started this by going in a post-game interview, well, I mean, he really reminds me of Steph.
Yeah.
I'm like,
which I think is fine to say.
Before you got there? No, that's the problem that I have is the years he was comparing, he wasn't even coaching Steph Curry at that point.
Yeah.
He wasn't there. He was just watching. How do you know how Steph was like in the locker rooms? You weren't in the locker room.
Well, he doesn't know what Tyrese Haliburton's like in the locker room. He's just talking about his...
He's talking about from Team USA. No, that's what... The thing is, he was talking about like, well, when I worked with him at Team USA, he really reminds me of a 25-year-old Steph. I'm like, did you know Steph when he was 25?
Okay, but at least you can say that he reminds me of like what I would imagine like what Steph is, but young.
I just am a Steve Kerr hater.
Yeah, I think you're being a little bit hard on him for that. He literally has coached Steph Curry like for the majority of his career. I think he's able to say something like that. I don't think that's a problem.
I'm just a Steve Kerr hater because he enables Draymond. And he also is the reason that KD didn't go to the Celtics. And he's also the reason...
He really?
No.
Steve Kerr?
I just blame everything on Steve Kerr. The same way I blamed everything on James Dolan for a while. Just corner of shame.
Yeah. No, but Tyrese Haliburton, I understand the comparison of like he has deep range and he's just like a pure shooter. Like he does not miss. So like in people's minds, people just equate that to Steph Curry. But like if you examine both their games, there's so much more to what makes Steph Curry than just simply that. And so it's idiotic, honestly, for people to say that when they're comparing the two players, just be like, oh, since Tyrese Haliburton has shooting and deep range, then that makes him equal to Steph. And now we can add in all the stuff that Tyrese Haliburton has over Steph in addition to that, you know? And so it makes Tyrese Haliburton look like just by far the better player, you know? And it's like you can't, like Tyrese Haliburton does not do everything that Steph does. He just doesn't. They're different kinds of players. And Tyrese Haliburton for sure has plenty of skills that is above Steph, like his playmaking. And I wouldn't say his handle necessarily. People underrate Steph. Steph has like probably top 3, top 4 handles all time in the NBA. I saw somebody say today that Steph is he's a great shooter, but that's it. He's a decent dribbler. Yeah, it's just listed off things like that. It was like he's a decent dribbler. Name 4 players in the NBA right now who are better dribblers, have better handles than Stephen Curry.
I think people forget about like 2015-16 Curry Where
Yeah.
like remember when he like just dribbled through the Clippers like
he
three
still
times?
he still does that.
I'm just saying that people because he doesn't do all the flashy crazy stuff that gets like on Sports Center everywhere.
Yeah.
People like forget that he does it.
Uh-huh.
Like people also probably like are like, well, I don't think Kyrie's that good either. Like, what are you talking about? People are like they can't acknowledge like more than 2 weeks ago. Like, there's probably Warriors fans out there that say, we don't need Draymond to come back. We're going to ride with Trace Jackson Davis.
Yeah.
Which also, that was almost, I was watching that game last night. We're recording this the 20th. That game happened the night of the 19th. I was like, okay, this is making me mad. But low key, if this is like going to turn into the next Draymond, I'm glad I'm witnessing this.
Yeah.
Because even in like the postgame too, it's like he's gonna have to be in the rotation a little bit more. He had like 10 points, 13 rebounds.
Yeah. No, he's a good player. Yeah. He's a
That made me
perfect.
so mad.
He's a perfect like Warriors rookie, honestly.
Yes, because he's like just ready. He's an old rookie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Which is like when you've got a team like the Warriors, old rookies are what you're looking for. Just because like guys that can come in and do a little bit for you but don't have to do everything. Just that game made me so mad yesterday.
Yeah. But going back to the Steph Hali thing, I think we've covered most of that. I don't know if there's much else
Haliburton is not bad, but stop disrespecting Steph Curry. That is where my heart lies.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my opinion on it is like people should just need to stop having to like crap on one person to give one other person praise. Like why can people not like do one without the other? You know? Like somebody was arguing not that long ago about Maxey versus Haliburton, saying that Maxey's like so much better, you know? It's like both of them are really good, but Tyrese Haliburton is probably better, but I mean that doesn't make Tyrese Maxey not good. Like he's very, very good also.
Philly people are also like a level of delusional that I can't comprehend in every sport. It's not just basketball. They're just like convinced they could be like a 4-13 football team, and they'll be like, "We've got a chance next year. We're gonna make some noise." Like it's like Nebraska football.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Sounds like Nebraska
but it's
football.
every single Philly sport. They're just like, I don't know. Don't sleep on us. I'm like, or everybody could. They could sleep through halftime and still beat you. That's not the case right now because Philadelphia sports is very good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like but anyways, Tyrese Haliburton, one of my favorite young players in the league. Not Steph Curry. They're different. Not to say he can't ever reach a similar area as Steph, or that maybe right now, right today. I'm not saying there's no way that Tyrese Haliburton is the best point guard in the league at the moment. Not saying that's out of the question, but he's like Tyrese Haliburton does not have every single skill that Steph has. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go. Moving on now to another topic. One thing I wanted to mention before it goes away, because I don't know how much longer they can keep this up, is the Pistons' 24 straight loss streak at the moment.
I feel so good about it because I don't remember what I ended up doing. I might have been talked out of it, but I think I locked the Pistons under at one point, or I thought about it. I think you convinced me that like Cade Cunningham is still good. Like
yeah, and they have a lot of good players on their team.
No, you definitely talked me out of it, which is not like you were like, think about it. They can't be as bad as they're saying they're going to be, but now they're every bit as bad and worse.
Way worse, yeah.
They are so bad.
I mean,
it's like all of them have been only playing basketball for 2 years. Yeah, what it feels like.
There's no way they would be this bad without all of the injury. Like they've been the most injured team so far this year, for sure. Mm-hmm. But still, 2-25 on the season. Like because before all the injuries, they started off 2-1, you know, and then they lost 24 straight, and counting at the moment. Could be higher when this episode comes out, honestly, because they're home versus the Jazz on Thursday, the 21st, and then they're at Brooklyn on Saturday the 23rd, and then they're at home against the Nets on Tuesday the 26th. So, I mean,
also, does this prove that Monty Williams is just like meh at coaching.
I mean, I've always thought he's been meh at best.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, does this solidify that? Like, okay, yeah, you give him like crazy good basketball players. He can like kind of. He's not gonna raise your floor as a coach.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Because you can't raise the floor. I mean, if he raised the floor, it was from 0 wins.
Yeah, and he just has like preferential treatment, I think, is the main thing. Like the reason that why there was a rift between him and DeAndre Ayton is because he just doesn't get along with all 17 players on his team. And that is happening this year again with Jaden Ivey. For some reason, just right out the gates was not playing him near as much. And like Jaden Ivey should be probably the starting backcourt piece alongside Cade Cunningham on this team. But he's not been starting. He was been. I don't know if he's still playing Killian Hayes over him even in the rotation, but at one point he was.
He was actually, him and Kevin O'Connor are just best friends, and he's trying to make Kevin O'Connor look right. Yeah. So he's giving Killian Hayes just insane amounts of reps.
I mean, I like Killian Hayes, and I think he's going to be a really.
I think he's in the worst situation possible.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a really solid backup point guard at one point. If not, he already is.
Yes.
But Jaden Ivey is definitely got more talent and more potential on the horizon, and might be even better right now at the moment too. So it's a little weird. But for some reason that's been just an issue, and their lineups have been just wacky. But like I said, they've been struggling with a lot of injuries and stuff. But one stat that I think is just hilarious is that in the calendar year of 2023, I think me and you have talked about this, but I don't think we did it on a pod. In the calendar year of 2023, the Detroit Lions have more wins than the Detroit Pistons.
Oh, yeah.
So for those that don't know, in the calendar year 2023, that includes more than half of last NBA regular season for the Pistons. And then all of the seasons thus far, the 27 games so far. So that's 42 plus 27 games, which is 69, right on the dot. And they have 9 wins. So they're 9-60 in the calendar year of 2023. The Detroit Lions are 10-4 or 10-5, whatever they are right now, because it only includes the season thus far this year in 2023.
Yep.
Because they didn't play after New Year's Day last year.
I think Detroit's 10. I think
they have 10 wins. I know that, but I don't know how many weeks they are in, so I didn't know.
We're going into week 16, but they had a bye week, so they played 14.
Probably. So 10-4. Yeah. So
not probably. I'm almost positive.
A football team, an NFL team, has more wins than an NBA team right now.
In the calendar year of 2023.
Yeah.
Where the NBA team has almost had an entire full season.
Yeah, 69 games versus 14 games. Sweet. Played.
It's pretty good win percentage.
Yeah. It's kind of insane that
feels bad. Also, you know what's also interesting to me?
What?
A little bit? We can actually talk about this later. I almost just segued into the end of the episode, our plan.
Oh, without realizing it?
Without even realizing it.
Yeah. But so yeah, we'll just recover from here, and get back to the topic we're talking about. Pistons just Pistons. So they are really bad right now, needless to say. I just wanted to point that out. Yeah.
Like, if you were a Detroit Pistons fan, 1, I'm sorry, and 2, you just gotta laugh a little bit. Like,
Cade just had his career high the other night, though, in a loss. It was a close one. They've had some close ones.
Well, I feel like it's just Detroit always, they don't get blown out. They just never win.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you always think they're the team poised to maybe do a little bit of shaking and moving, and they just don't. Yeah. Like, Detroit football was like that 2 years ago, too, where you're like, wait, they lost a lot of games by 2 or 3. They're on the up and up. And now this is the first year they've actually been on the up, I think, but
yeah. And
10-4,
really
poised to maybe be 13-4 at the end of the season because they get the dirtbag Vikings twice. And I think they might play the Packers again.
That's got to be like a top 2 seed, right? 13-4.
I think
3
it's
seed?
the top seed because the Dallas Cowboys just absolutely. Oh no, wait! They play the Dallas Cowboys week 17 for the 1 seed in the NFC.
Oh,
if they win out,
yeah, interesting.
Pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, the
Detroit Lions could win a Super Bowl before the Detroit Pistons win 10 games.
That might be the case, honestly, with how bad this has been going.
Awesome.
24 straight. I don't know what the record is. I think I heard it recently. That was a while ago when like the Pistons were at like 18 losses. So, all-time loss
28.
streak.
Shout out to the Sixers.
You say 38?
28.
Oh, okay, 28. So it's within reach right now.
The Sacramento Kings lost 43 games in a row at home. Oh, on the road. Sorry, on the road.
I was going to say, that would be how, like, they had to have more than 28 straight then. But yeah.
Wait. That means they're just over an entire season, essentially. They didn't win a single game on the road.
Yeah.
And then the longest home losing streak was the Dallas Mavericks, who lost 19 games at home in a row.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot shorter.
Right now, the Detroit Pistons 24 ties them for third longest losing streak. The Cleveland Cavaliers in 1982 also had 24 losses in a row. The 76ers, honestly, shout out to those guys. I'm assuming it was the 9-win because they have the longest losing streak of 28 and the second longest of 26. And I think
Same
it's
season?
No, it's 2 different seasons.
Oh, okay.
Looks like the end of the 2014 season and the end of the 2015 start of 16 season. But anyway, it was the same team essentially.
Yeah. When they were it was a trust the process Sixers.
But like before the process, like even pretended to look good, like just really truly have to trust the process.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they still say trust the process now. Yeah,
but they still say it now,
but like
the process has come to its full form, at least in theory. That hasn't really it hasn't bared the best fruit so far.
It's more fruit, but not like A tier.
Yeah, not as much as people
one Eastern
were
Conference Finals. One Eastern Conference Finals appearance.
Never made it out of the second round. Embiid's never made it out of the second round.
Wait, the Raptors beat him in the second round?
Yeah, that was like the Kawhi shot, the bouncing around. Yeah. Game 7 of the second round, and then they went on to face the Bucks the next round, where they went down 2-0 against the Bucks, and then came back and won 4-2. Yeah, Kawhi, all-time run. Honestly.
Speaking of Kawhi, there's another team that's doing the exact opposite of the Detroit Pistons,
and Kawhi looks happier than ever right now. I don't know if you.
I've seen him smile.
Yeah,
wild stuff. The Clippers are very good right now. Is it 10? What was it? 8 games?
8 games straight. Yeah, they're winning. So and they started off 0-5 with James Harden in the lineup.
It was just 5. It felt like it was so much longer.
It was 0 and I think it was actually a 6-game losing streak because they lost the game right before they got Harden also. But with Harden, it was 0-5.
It just felt like it was so much longer. Did they like win one and then lose a couple, or have they just been winning ever since?
I think there might have been a little in between period, but
I just feel like they've definitely like the thing that some people feared is coming to fruition. Like the Clippers are figuring it out, and that's not super fun.
I feel pretty validated now because I was like, I didn't hear a single person as positive, like as up on the Clippers than I was when the James Harden trade happened. Because I was like, I don't see like really any issues. Like I get they're not gonna get the same usage as usual. Like obviously they're not, but like all of these guys seem like guys that they could fit together, especially with Russ coming off the bench. Like having all of them on the floor, at least 3 of those guys on the floor, is going to be something that's ridiculous to deal with. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are just going to become the most overqualified 3-and-D wings the league has.
Which is just gross.
Yeah.
When like you're like, it's like walking, like who are your 3-and-D guys? Like
on
who
the
are
Nuggets?
they? Like no. Like if this was just like, like
vacuum.
Just in general. Yeah, who are your 3-and-D guys? Oh, mine's like, we had Jay Crowder a couple years ago. We've got
KCP.
This guy. KCP, like, oh, yo, those are like really good kind of like fit in. Oh, we have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Both of them?
Uh-huh.
That's just nuts.
Yep. The Harden and Zubats pick and roll is looking pretty good. He finally has a roller that like I guess Embiid, that's a little disrespectful to Embiid. He could make a little bit out of the short roll. But Zubats is actually playing really well on the short roll, like looking like prime Marc Gasol with some of those passes to the dunker spots that he's making. And yeah, it just goes to show that like really any center in the league that's like a capable basketball player will look really good in a pick and roll scenario with James Harden. And it kind of validates James Harden's quote, while it was pretty arrogant and kind of cringy. Is still very true. What he said on not media day, but his introduction press conference, where he said, "I'm not a system player. I am a system." It's like, yeah, he kind of is. But so it's looking good right now. James Harden is getting to figure it out. His stats and numbers are on the up. He's making game-winning plays, and the Clippers are just gelling. Like I felt like would probably happen eventually. That beginning, not gonna lie, you can keep receipts. I think you can go back to when the first episode after the James Harden trade, or after at least they played some games. I said something about how I backed out. I was pretty off the Clippers. I was a lot more scared than I was. So I did kind of back out, but
waiver.
Yeah. Because that start definitely did startle me a bit, but it is now looking kind of like how I thought it probably would. So they're looking like a team that can really contend in the West, for sure. And they're actually on cleaning the glass right now, and this is counting the full season. They're number 5 in terms of net rating. They're plus 7.8 on the season. They're 7th in offense and 7th in defense. But in the last 2 weeks, they are number 1 in offense, number 5 in defense. So that makes them 2nd overall in the past 2 weeks. And they have a plus. Somehow this isn't number 1. Past 2 weeks, their net rating is plus 20.3. And somehow the number 1 is the Sixers, who are plus 24.
Oh, it's because I think was it the Raptors that they just physically pooped on?
Embiid, this is a thing that I feel like needs to be pointed out. Embiid's numbers, great player. Not trying to take anything away from him at all, but it's when you're comparing Embiid's numbers to somebody like Jokic, it's just a different it's a different way that they put up their numbers. Embiid is much more likely to sit games.
It was the Hornets. Apologize to Raptors World. They beat the Hornets by almost
a billion.
60. It was 135 to 82.
Yeah. So,
and then the night before that, they beat the Pistons by 124 to 92, and then the Pistons before that by 18, and then the Wizards before that by 45.
Yeah, so a bunch of weak defensive front courts, like some of the worst ones in the league. And Embiid always gets up for those games, but so if you look at his career, and especially recently, the last couple of seasons, he is much more likely to sit out games against teams that have good defensive front courts. Like in games where it's like, I probably won't be able to dominate as easily. Like he's much more likely to sit out. And then in games like this, where it's like just gimme baskets against like the Wizards and the Hornets, who don't have any size or anything resembling a guy who can defend a Joel Embiid, he just goes out there and eats all night to put up 50-point games and stuff because he wants to win MVP and stuff. Which I'm not knocking in terms of like obviously if you want to win MVP, go do that. Like makes sense. But it's just, I think there needs to be at least a little bit of an adjustment when you're comparing just flat out counting stats, counting numbers from him to like Nikola Jokic, who just the other night had 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists in a game that he had complete control over the entire game, and was the reason that the Nuggets were so good and so far ahead that he didn't have to come back in the fourth quarter at all. In the second quarter, where Jokic played the majority of the minutes, he didn't take a single shot that whole quarter, and the Nuggets put up 40 points. That's like the exact example of how like when the Nuggets are rolling or when the Nuggets are clicking, a very good way to tell if
Jokic looks like he's done nothing.
Yeah, if you look at the box score and see like no stats for Jokic or no shot attempts, that means the Nuggets are playing very well.
Well, we've talked about the opposite side, like the opposite of that. Like if you like tune in and like Jokic has like 30 points at like halftime, the Nuggets are probably going to lose that basketball game.
Yeah, or it's going to be very close. Yeah.
Like it's things are not going well when Jokic has to score.
Yeah. Yeah, I would I would bet that if you looked at like, let's say the Nuggets 3-point percentage in games where Jokic scores over 30 or 35, something like that, it's probably way lower than the games, that are the opposite. Because if like the shots that the Nuggets offense is supposed to create, like the way it just normally runs with Jokic is just kind of like the orchestrator of it all. Like if those shots aren't falling, then Jokic just has to go to work in the post, which is just always plan B for him. So yeah, it's just funny to look at that. Like Jokic, like I wouldn't say it's like a direct 1-to-1, like Jokic dominated Luka Doncic, but Jokic was toying with the Mavs, like clearly had like complete control over the game more so than any other player. And he was facing Luka Doncic, who had 38 on the night, and he only had 8 points himself. He had a triple single, 8, 9, and 7. And didn't care either. Like, I'm sure he was not worried about it even a little. But that is part of just what makes him him. So, like I guess a little bit impromptu Nuggets corner there. But yeah, the Clips are figuring it out. One of the top teams in the West for sure. Minnesota is still rolling, so they're up there also. But that puts us on track, I guess, to finish out this episode with our last segment that we're both pretty excited for. And I don't really have a draft board on paper or anything, but I have kind of just some thoughts in my mind. So we'll see how this goes. But we're going to do a draft to end this episode. And what we're drafting here today is NBA rivalries. So like rivalries between teams. I think we should probably stress that or like, clarify that. It's not like any rivalries between players or anything like that, but between teams. I think it is all time. Might be drafting. Well, actually, I take this. It should be like right now, but because right now rivalries all time, the history matters in terms of what rivalries are right now also. You get what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like just picking the rivalry at its height. It's like over the course of all time, like where we're at now, what rivalries have been like, what are the strongest rivalries?
Yeah.
So I guess we should flip a coin or however you want to do this to pick who goes first.
You can go first.
I feel like I've gone first in a lot of our drafts.
Because I probably said that every time.
Well, we've flipped coins, but still it ends up being me.
Sure. Coin, flip, machine.
Machine. I don't know if you need to type that in, but think Google. If you type in just like flip a coin, it's right there. Okay.
Do you want heads or tails?
I'll do tails.
It was...
The suspense.
The people won't be able to see this is for us. Hold on.
What?
Okay. What the? I can't share my screen. Hold on. I'm having a conniption.
I'll just do this. Jacob, pick a number between 69 and 100.
74.
It was 84. So I don't know what that was supposed to accomplish.
I was confused too. You just go first.
No, you go first. We'll have you start.
I'll take a nice and easy one, and I feel like it may not have the same juice that it has had across the eons of time, But there's an entire era that's like kind of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Lakers Celtics.
Yeah, I think that's the obvious number one. So, yeah, obvious number one for you. Let me get this jotted down, a little draft board up so I can keep track of the picks. So Jacob takes in the first round with his first pick, Lakers, Celtics. And so for my first pick, man, I think I might stay with a franchise like Boston because they're so historically relevant. And I mean, this is a pretty one-sided rivalry for the most part over time, especially recently. But it's like really the main one that's coming to mind. So I'm going to go with Sixers Celtics.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm glad you left this one because I almost spoiled it earlier in the episode when we were talking about the Detroit Pistons. I feel like just because right now this rivalry is kind of down on the dumps, historically, I mean, there was like a good run where the East ran through one of these two teams in between the Boston, the post Larry Bird Boston era. Then it kind of was Detroit or Chicago. I feel like right now it's not like the most premier, like this is it. But I just feel like they've got a lot of like historical juice, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with Chicago, Detroit as my next rivalry that to add to the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense as a second pick, third overall. And so my next one, I want to do more current, which this one is a little bit current, but definitely the main bulk of it was in the 90s. And has a figure who is still very relevant as like kind of the face of this rivalry, because he was like kind of the catalyst for it, and that is Pat Riley with the Knicks and Heat. So that's kind of researched a little bit now because of, they just faced each other in playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. There was a playoff series that was played during the Heatles era against the Mellow Knicks when the Knicks were the 2 seed, I want to say.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah, that was like the best Knicks season that Melo had. And yeah, so that they had that going a little bit, but the bulk of it was definitely back in the 90s. But when Pat Riley left the Knicks, he was head coach of the Knicks, but left and went to the Heat. And then there was like Alonzo Mourning that was on the Heat, and Larry Johnson was on the Knicks, and those two guys were teammates back in Charlotte, but now they had a lot of animosity for one another. There's that famous clip of Jeff Van Gundy holding the leg of one of his players in a fight that broke out between the Knicks and the Heat. So that's my number 2 pick.
This rivalry, as I was going through lists, doing some research, I kind of forgot about it because it doesn't super exist now because one of the teams has relocated. Mm-hmm. But the franchise's rivalry, and there's still a little bit of sauce in between the two, is the Sonics/Thunder and the Blazers.
Sonics and Blazers, because like the Portland-Seattle connection.
The Portland-Seattle thing across like all sports is like a heated deal. Mm-hmm. I guess, are we going to count the Thunder for that? Because if we're not, I have a totally different pick. I'll go.
We can count it.
Okay,
if that
counts, then
like Sonic. At least it's like the Sonics can be its own thing, and you're picking Blazers Sonics.
The Sonics Blazers. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess if you're counting Thunder Blazers, there's the Dame shot against Paul George. Yeah. Okay. I didn't.
That's why I count like as like an entity in my brain.
Yeah, I think that counts. Yeah.
So that is going to be my. Seems crazy. That's my 3rd overall pick, but I feel like a lot of the things that like people consider rivalries, like no, that was just 5 years where they like went back and forth. Like I won't say it in case that you think it is a rivalry and we can talk about it then. But like there's some that like no, that was just a little era. That's not like a full on rivalry that stretches over more time than like weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. But no, that's a pretty good pick. I didn't even like go into like any of the Sixers Celtics stuff, but that's been multiple eras. Like you just said, there's some that are like just a little time period, but There's like the Bird versus Dr. J. They threw punches at each other.
I know, because that was going to be my. If you got first pick, my pick was Celtics Sixers. That was just it. Yeah. Just because there's been, Wilt for a little bit, and like Bill Russell when there was like the Sixers, every era of basketball has some sort of Sixers Celtics wrinkle.
Mm-hmm.
And even when like the Sixers were bad, like it was like in the draft, like the lottery, and like there was just always things. Celtics own the series hard, but it's still a rivalry.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I don't know what would be next. I feel like I'm leaving something out in my mind because the next step feels like a pretty big drop off.
That's how I felt with my next one. I've got another one that's like. See, and what's hard about basketball rivalries is I feel like they're a lot more like fans of the teams know, but like the NBA general public isn't super aware of them always.
Yeah. Yeah, like all the ones I'm thinking of right now, I don't want to spoil too many, but like the Lakers Pistons and Lakers Spurs, like those are just kind of like one era, you know? They didn't really outlast
each other, yeah.
Time.
Or they didn't outlast players.
Yeah.
It wasn't a multi-era of teams type of...
Yeah, it was more of a Duncan versus Shaq era.
And like Kobe type of thing, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I guess there's like more of like a... Because you already picked Portland, Seattle, right?
Yep.
I'll go with like the South version of that.
Dang it.
And do Dallas, Houston.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a great one that you picked.
Okay. I don't know what you're thinking of, but I think Dallas and Houston is, like neither of them have been like super great at the same time. So it's kind of hard, but it's just like those cities have like such a intense rivalry just with everything in culture, like regardless of sport, you know?
Same thing with like football, like it just, Dallas football doesn't super care about Houston football, but like those two cities definitely are like a Portland, Seattle type of situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what was your thought? What team were you thinking of?
Kings Warriors is going to be the rivalry that I will take.
Kings Warriors, more of a recent development, right?
A little bit, but like it's more of like the city thing is they're close, and I know that geographically it kind of ruffles feathers as they're both the more northern California teams, even though neither of them are super far north. But Sacramento's pretty north. Anyway, the northern California teams, I know Kings. Well, because that's why there was all the drama with the Kings trying to get Draymond allegedly over the offseason as like a jab at their counterpart. In terms of on-court rivalries, I don't think there's much. We're probably missing a giant one, and people will let us know. I'm just trying to think if I'm missing one.
Yeah.
As we're kind of
I've been since we've been starting this, I've been like kind of looking through some articles, and there's just not very much that people have documented from what I can find so far.
It's just weird because basketball rivalries, you'd think they'd matter, but they just don't. They do, but they just don't really like have much meat to them outside of like the individual teams.
Yeah. So I'm thinking let's go 7 picks in this.
7 picks?
Yeah, okay. Since you're 4 picks in, I'm 3. What was your 4th pick? The one you just made?
Kings Warriors.
Yeah, Kings Warriors. Especially with Sacramento kind of being the Bay's like younger brother in terms of like city relationships. And we haven't done any of the inner city rivalries yet.
Bulls Pistons.
Inner city.
Oh, I'm tracking now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
A little bit.
There's 2 that I'm thinking of, but one is stronger than the other.
No, one of them is like a joke, and the other one I think is real, in my opinion. But
one of them's a joke. But I think both of them are kind of jokes, but like they still exist. Like people.
One of them feels more. Yes. Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway, which one are you gonna roll?
I'm thinking Clippers Lakers. Is that the one you were thinking of as the bigger one?
Yeah, I would not go Knicks.
Yeah, Knicks Nets.
Maybe it's because like the Nets have not been good outside of like mercenary for hire.
Yeah, the Clippers have not been great, but yeah. I get what you mean. Also, it's like people people just like Lakers hate the Clippers more so than I feel like the Knicks hate the Nets. Like the Knicks are just kind of like, who cares about the Nets, you know?
Yeah.
More so than like the Lakers, like the Clippers suck. And there's not like a big reason the Lakers should care about the Clippers, but they do though. Like they
still want to bury them, yeah.
Yeah. And like they're really like intent on like making every Clippers, whenever it's Clippers versus Lakers, like it's a Lakers home game regardless of what the court floor says. Like if it's a Clippers home game technically, and the court laid out,
feel like it.
Yeah, it's still way more Lakers fans in there than Clippers. So, and like there's like a big thing with a lot of like the more wealthy Lakers fans, they just like buy out as many of the season tickets of the Clippers that they can, and just like nobody goes to the games. You know, they have like empty seats because people just buy the season tickets so they can be empty. So that little like just nastiness toward each other, I think, earns them a spot on this list, and so they were my fourth pick.
Because of how little the Knicks care about Brooklyn, I think I'm going to skip it.
Okay.
And I'm not going to take it because I don't want it with this one. So this one is a little bit of reading the tea leaves. This had a big mid-90s to the end of the 90s wrinkle to it. That's where the rivalry probably considered to be started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think personally both of these teams are kind of on a trajectory because of the rosters they have now to kind of butt heads over the next couple of years in like the first or second round of the playoffs. I am going to stay in New York with the Knicks, but they are going to head to the Midwest, and the rivalry is the Pacers.
Okay, that's exactly what I was
thinking.
Reggie Miller.
My goodness. My brain could not get Reggie White out of my head. Great football player. Anyway,
Reggie Miller
choking was looking at Spike Lee doing that.
Yeah.
Against the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
They saw each other all the time in the late 90s in like either the Eastern... It wasn't the Eastern Conference Finals. It would have been the semifinals.
They had a few in the... Like, especially 94 and 95 when Jordan and the Bulls weren't there. It was Knicks and Pacers, yeah. But also then, right after Jordan was done, you know, the Knicks and Pacers still were around.
Yeah. And so that's why I think also there could be some very interesting Knicks-Pacers series like this year in the playoffs if things work out right.
Yeah.
Like that could be a very... I think that I'm excited for like... I would be excited if I were to like go look across the NBA and build playoff series, not involving the Celtics, obviously, because I would watch the Celtics ones all seven. I don't think I'd miss a game of Knicks Pacers. I feel like that's two evenishly like ranked teams that I think just like stylistically butt heads so aggressively. It just would be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, for sure.
Because like the Pacers would look at the Knicks and be like, "You're not going to be able to slow us down enough. Try to score with us." But then there'd be like a couple games where the Knicks would actually be able to like slow down the Pacers offense, and like then the Pacers would have to try to play defense. I just think it would just be fun to watch. Mm-hmm. So Knicks Pacers because of what happens and has happened and what might happen in the future.
Yeah.
Even though that's not at all what rivalry is supposed to be based on. The 90s honestly was enough to make it this pick, but I just wanted to add like I think it would be fun to watch that those two teams play this year.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good pick.
In the future for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Let's see. I think the next pick I'll make it's kind of an inner city one, as close to an inner city one that you could have without it being actually like the Nets and the Knicks. And this is one that's in the Central Division, and it's pretty old. That's why I saved it for now because it's been sleeping for quite a while now. It was mainly prominent even before Jordan's time, but then especially like the beginning, like the first half of Jordan's career before the big bad boys Pistons versus the Bulls thing was a thing. The team that they would lose to every year before that was the Milwaukee Bucks with Sidney Moncrief. Just because, you know, Milwaukee and Chicago, if you look at a map, are like basically the same city. Like it doesn't turn. You could drive between the two cities and it never feels like you've left the city, you know. So there's you know, just geographically there's something there because of how close they are, and then they've been good at the same time for a little bit of stretches of the NBA history. So that's probably enough, honestly, to put it here. Also, something that just popped in my mind now, is Giannis, his like basically tackling Mike Dunleavy Jr. in the playoffs. that was a Bucks Bulls game, so that adds to the rivalry.
Now we're getting into some tough ones. I think next, hold on, is there any other part of this like era that existed? Or is it just, I just don't want to just do a bunch of late 90s ones, but I feel like that's what like my brain keeps going.
That's kind of like the golden era of basketball though. So.
Well, and I also think it's because teams were like overtly like kind of not nasty to one another, but like didn't shy away from like.
Pretty nasty, yeah.
Yeah, just being nasty with one another. I guess I'll do it. I've got a couple picks left. This is my 5th pick, I think.
This is your 6th.
6th pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6th pick. I will go. I'll just do it. I'm going to go Jazz Rockets, the battle of who got to lose to Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like Malone versus Olajuwon.
Yeah. And then they played more recently, I think, in like the playoffs a couple times.
I think once they did, yeah.
I don't know.
But I think that counts a little bit. Yeah, Harden versus Donovan Mitchell.
I'm just kind of out of things. And so this was if this was in the 90s, this was like a legitimate rivalry between the two teams of like 5-6 years of just constantly butting heads in the Western Conference Finals or in like the early rounds of the playoffs. Just however it worked out, it just was constantly these two teams. And I don't even know if these fan bases feel that way about each other, but as someone that is on the outside looking, they played each other a lot. So there it is.
Rockets Jazz. All right. Not bad. For my 6th pick, I'm thinking, I don't know if I should take the Nets Knicks yet. I feel like that should be drafted at one point.
You
probably.
Think? I think that like I just feel like the Knicks, there is no emotion.
Yeah, it does kind of feel that way.
They wake up more for like another team coming to town. That makes no sense. It's not a real rivalry. I'm not going to draft it. Like, they probably care more when the Hawks come to town because of the Trae Young thing.
Yeah, that's one of the teams that was on my radar.
I thought about it, but I was like, is there any... I was more trying to think, like, was there any other era where that mattered other than, like, the Trae Young thing? Like,
Dominic Wilkins versus Bernard King, I guess, kind of. They're both really good at the same time is all I'm going up based off of.
Yeah.
Fighting each other for scoring titles. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess try to stay in like divisional rivalries. Like I feel like I should probably take a Nuggets one, but the Nuggets, it's like Nuggets Blazers was a thing. But Nuggets Jazz is, I feel like, more of a thing just overall and like geographically makes more sense because like it's the two mountain teams, you know?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I've just totally spaced on one that just came to my brain.
Oh, really? So I guess
I'm just looking at a picture of NBA teams. Just that it has all 30 NBA logos, and I'm like looking and kind of mismatching in between two. Anyway.
Yeah. I guess to pick one for the Nuggets, I'm thinking Blazers because just like, you know, for how long Yusuf Nurkic played there and like just a kind of an automatic little bit of a rivalry between the teams with that because of what Nurkic kind of serves as with the Nuggets. Like it's kind of like our ugly past in a way, you know? What almost could have been that's like a very dark what if we would have chosen Yusuf Nurkic over Nikola Jokic, and some animosity that Nurkic had towards the fans and the team in Denver after that situation, and then just like the battles in the playoffs that they've had, especially that what was it, a 4 quadruple overtime game in the playoffs in 19. There's at least 4. I was thinking 6 in my mind, but I think that's just the record all time is 6 overtimes is why that comes to my mind. I think it was 4 overtimes, and it was eventually like the game was won by somebody who didn't play in all of the overtimes, finally checked in because of how tired some of the players were becoming.
It was 4.
Yeah, it was 4
overtime, 140 to 137.
Yeah, and it was one. It was iced out basically. What won them the game was a 3 from Rodney Hood, who had just checked in without playing at all since the 4th quarter. So had some fresh legs in there, but yeah, that was just a fun series, fun rivalry. Like that was like a 7-game series, I believe, and We've faced them again in the playoffs since then. So I guess I'll go with Nuggets Blazers.
I will also return to my favorite team, the Boston Celtics. This is not a historically significant anything. It started in about 2010-ish. Celtics Heat. I don't know why that didn't pop into my head at all when I looked at the Miami Heat logo and the Boston Celtics logo. Yeah. But they've been, since 2010, kind of both important players in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the Heat have gotten the better of the Celtics just about every single time. Mm-hmm. But I think it's enough at this point in time that I'm going to call it a rivalry because I don't know where else to go.
Yeah. Makes sense. So your final pick is Celtics Heat.
Heat.
All right. And so for my final pick, I'm thinking I might go with the aforementioned Lakers Spurs, maybe. Lakers Kings is a decent rivalry.
2004, never forget.
Yeah. There's also
Cavs Warriors, bro.
Cavs Warriors. It's pretty short.
That's what I said it as a joke.
But it is kind of crazy. Like, they face each other literally 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
In the finals. That's pretty wild. I think that's a pretty that gets a pretty strong. Yeah, and it's pretty recent too. So, yeah, I'll take Cavs Warriors for my last pick. Honestly, feel decent-ish about that. So, what we got as picks? Jacob has the Lakers, Celtics, Bulls, Pistons, Blazers, Sonics / Thunder, Kings, Warriors, Knicks, Pacers, Rockets, Jazz, and Celtics, Heat. And then I have the Sixers, Celtics, Knicks, Heat, Rockets, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, Bulls, Nuggets, Blazers, and Cavs, Warriors.
I think this is the first one of these drafts I might have won.
You think you got it?
Just because of Lakers, Celtics at 1. I think this is the first time that I've actually won.
And Bulls, Pistons is pretty strong. Blazers and Sonics was stronger than I thought at first. I feel like I might have. And Knicks Pacers is a really good pick at 5 also.
I didn't miss.
I'll give it
outside
to you.
of Nick Kings Warriors. I definitely wasn't that was a little high. But this is the first one I felt good about after. Usually I look at the list, I'm like, man, that went bad.
Yeah.
This is the first time I felt like this actually went okay.
Yeah, I'll hand it to you. I think Rockets Mavs for me was a pretty bad pick at 3, with what was still left on. Like Lakers Clippers probably should have gone above Rockets Mavs. I feel like
I should have taken it before I took Kings Warriors.
Yeah.
But I'm also in tune with Sacramento, and maybe it's more of a rivalry for Sacramento than the other way around.
Honestly,
Sacramento might be really invested, and that's where
I'd probably, yeah.
I have my pulse on the beam more than I do the Oracle Arena.
The Bay.
Throwback.
Yeah, throwback to the Oracle Arena. That's not just a rename, that's an entirely different building.
Different building. It's gone now, I think. The other one is.
Yeah. I don't know if it's
torn
gone.
To the ground.
Or was it?
I think so.
Yeah, they're in Chase Center now, across the
Some honorable mentions that I thought of: Lance Stevenson and LeBron James.
Oh, we're going players now.
No, I just
KG Duncan. That could be a whole other draft in and of itself, honestly.
KG Duncan. Well, obviously you have the Larry Bird and
Magic. Yeah, that's number 1.
Yes.
And then number 2 is probably Russell Wilt. I guess there's Jordan. He doesn't really have an equal. Yeah. There's not really an equal for... There's Barkley Malone.
That's a good one. Kobe Shaq, even though they're on the same team.
Honestly. Yeah, that's a bit of a rivalry. Kevin McHale had some...
I wonder if that's why basketball doesn't have as many team ones. I wonder if there's almost more player ones that you that people remember. Lance Stevenson should be forgotten out of my brain. There's no reason I should remember who Lance Stevenson is, but I will never forget the man because he walked up to LeBron and just blew in his ear.
Yeah, and he was basically Lance Stevenson walked so Dillon Brooks could run. Yeah,
that's one. Dillon Brooks and LeBron.
Yeah, That's one.
There's
now.
a rivalry.
Dillon Brooks
also,
and everybody.
Dillon Brooks has made this Rockets team, like, he's part of why their team works.
Oh, yeah, for sure. A big part.
Which is, I just did not envision Dillon Brooks getting just overpaid for what he is as a basketball player, but what he did culturally for the bunch of young guys was so good. He's also been a lot better at shot. I don't want to say shot selection.
He's been making. He's not been
as brain dead of like, oh, I've got Ja Morant. Shout out to Ja, first game back.
Yeah.
Still be shooting. Splash.
Yeah.
Game winner, buzzer beater for those that did not know what happened on yesterday evening. It was his first game back, wasn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, like Dillon Brooks, you were saying.
Yeah, he just is like, I feel like, I don't want to say his shot selection has gotten better. He just like, no, I think he's more aware of like what's going on and he makes more of the shots that feel wrong.
I think it's mainly coaching. Like I think his shot selection definitely has gotten better, but I think like, you know, the difference between Taylor Jenkins, which is a great head coach. I love Taylor Jenkins as a coach. Not taking anything away from him, but his style is much more like green light, you know, like shoot or shoot type of thing. Like go have it. And Ime's like Dillon Brooks. You lock in on the defensive end and take shots when, when it's permitted. But I think Udoka. I think also Udoka's just like the type of guy that I feel like would get the respect of Dillon Brooks. You know,
more than
Taylor Jenkins. So I think that's why that works there. Also, honestly, $20 million a year for Dillon Brooks right now does not look that bad because
it did right away. It felt so wrong.
Yeah, especially because of how far down everybody was on him. But 20, it's just like it's hard for people to get out of their minds what 20 million was like 6-7 years ago. But right now,
was a max.
Yeah,
like a guy that was like on the edge of a max.
Mm-hmm. 20 million is like a sixth man, seventh man now.
Yeah,
almost. It's weird, but I mean, literally, Bruce Brown is being paid $22 million a year, and he starts.
I think that's also what people looked at Dillon Brooks and were like, "You are not in the same ballpark of a guy that just pretty much helped win a championship." Like was like a kind of important, not the most important piece, clearly, but was a vital part of winning a championship, a very helpful piece. Mm-hmm. You're not the same value as that guy.
Yeah,
but. He is for this young team because all of them have a little bit of Dylan the Villain in them. Just a little bit of that pizzazz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that will probably wrap up today's episode. Another one in the books. Thank you guys for listening. Please do all the stuff that Jacob said at the beginning.
I'll say it again in case you forgot. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single Pirtle upload if you're on YouTube or anything, any podcast, anything. If you're on TikTok, this never gets to TikTok, but if you have a TikTok, go over to Hoop Theory and hit follow. Once we get to 5,000 followers, we will be giving away a singular jersey that is not Draymond Green, or if you get Miles Bridges, it comes in a youth extra small.
That's the other way around.
That backwards.
Yeah.
You cannot get a Miles Bridges jersey, and if you get a Draymond Green one, it will be sent to you as an extra small. Once we get to 5,000, we just eclipsed the 4,000 mark, so we are well on our way. And we'll do some sort of like thing where you sign up or draw. I don't know how we'll do it.
Yeah,
that'll be Logan.
I need to figure that out soon. Yeah,
but we will get that figured out and get somebody a jersey. Buy Logan a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/hoop theory, patreon.com/hoop theory, and as always, stay happy. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you.
Yeah, all the links of these things also should be in the episode description as well as the show description wherever you're listening to this. And without further ado, stay happy, stay healthy, and we will talk to you guys next episode.
Peace!